Hi everyone, so this is the video about graphics, and I'm going to just start off with a few announcements. So for Monday, by 11:59 p.m., if possible, please read visuals in Handbook of Technical Writing and Chapter 12, Creating Graphics from Technical Communication, and then complete the questions for Chapter 12 assignment, and then submit it to assignments on D2L. So I should post this under Unit 2 soon. So I was planning on getting this video up earlier, so as usual, if you need a little extra time on the assignment, that's totally fine. And then, last but not least, it's sort of diverging a little bit mentally, but I realized I never put an updated due date for your formal report assignment, so please just turn that in a week from Monday. So Monday, 4/20 at 11:59 p.m. So your schedule of assignments now reflects that. I ended up taking out one of the assignments to make sure that you had enough room to kind of work on that. Okay, so now let's get started. There's so much information that I have to go through. So the first bit is I'm going to just show you the worksheet that you'll be working on. So here it is, questions for chapter 12. So there's two sort of free writes interspersed between 8 questions. So the whole thing is worth 10 questions in total. The free writes, this one is focused on, so what types of visuals are you planning on using for your formal report, right? And then because the two readings, the questions for, so visuals from Handbook of Technical Writing and then from Creating Graphics from Technical Communication, both of them go through relatively similar information. I kind of want you to think about the similarities and differences between them, and then I would absolutely love it if you could give me some feedback on which one you found the most helpful and why. So remember when we were doing like the readings about team writing and you were like, hey, the readings are not super updated and are not very useful, then that's great for me that I can take that feedback and change my curriculum for the next time I teach this. So I would really appreciate that if you could just give me some feedback on that. All right, so yeah, so this is the worksheet that you have to do. So I'm just going to very briefly go over some of the points that I thought were really important in the reading. So yeah, functions of graphics. So what I really liked here, it's good that I actually loved all the graphics in the textbook because I thought they did a great job of illustrating the points. So for instance, this one, graphics can save space. So they have a bunch of information that's super dense in a paragraph that I feel like nobody really wants to read. And then they translated it into a chart. And then instantly, not only is it more memorable, but the information feels more easily to consume. And so I feel like this compare and contrast does a really great job of articulating why in certain points you may want to consider using graphics if you haven't already started looking for them or integrating them into your formal report. So that's the first thing. Then if we flip the page, there's another graphic that I thought was absolutely great. So this goes through characteristics of an effective graphic. And so I feel like there's two different roads you can take. Some people are really sparse with their graphics and they just don't like putting things on there. And then sometimes you can also get too excited and just love sprucing things up, regardless of whether it's actually useful or not. And so this is a perfect example of sprucing it up to the point where it doesn't actually add more information or it doesn't help your reader understand things better. So if you make your graph 3D, so it looks kind of cool, but it doesn't make the information more accessible or anything like that. So this is a great example of, don't just, it can be really exciting when you're discovering these new tools and you can experiment with them, but also be, smart about how you are choosing to implement them. Don't throw them in there just because you can, right? And that's the point of this whole video, how to choose things wisely. So then moving on, right, so we'll talk about Creative Commons and things a bit later, but guidelines for integrating graphics and text. So this is something I saw in your drafts. So some of you did it well, and then some of you need to do a little bit of revision. So with regards to introducing the text, the graphic in the text, it's good to, instead of saying see the picture above or the picture below, make sure that you label all of your images, like either figure 1, figure 2, right? And you'll have a list of these graphics later on. And so don't refer to it as the figure above or figure below, use the number so it's easier. Like if you have two graphics, right? If you have one graphic above and one graphic below, or you have two graphics below, it can be very difficult to distinguish what are you actually referring to. So as a result, it's important to just label them and give them numbers. And not only that, but definitely explain the graphic in the text. It's good not to just include things because they're decorative, but that they serve an actual purpose in sharing information, and they definitely add to or contribute to the information your reader will learn. So yeah, so definitely talk about it, don't just pop it in there. So those are a few things that I wanted to draw your attention to. And for me personally, looking at this reading, it goes into so much depth about every single type of graphic you can include, and then what are the pros and cons of each one, and how to make like line charts look good, how to go through different things like that. So after you do your reflection and your free write about what types of graphics, I would highly recommend you go through the rest of the reading in chapter 12 and read the specific section so you can make each graph or chart the best it can be. Depending on, but you don't have to go through the whole thing. But I feel like this is a great resource, especially if you are going to, take more upper division classes maybe next year, and you need to include these types of images. Even if you're not going to include like a pie chart now, you can think about, okay, what makes a good pie chart, right? And you have the resource right in front of you if you need to access it. So I personally really love this chapter. Okay, so that's everything about the reading that I wanted to go over. So then I also included, a few things. That's right. Okay, that was the announcement. So under Unit 2, I also created a new section called Resources for Graphics, and I dumped a bunch of things in there. And so there's this reading called Writing Public Lives that I often go through with my writing students. And chapter 16, so around page 400, it goes through this idea of fair use. And it's a little less tricky for you guys because of the fact that you will not be publishing your formal report publicly. So that means you can use basically anything as long as you are citing it properly. So it can get kind of tricky, like, okay, so there's a bunch of symbols indicating which images you can use for what purposes, and it's not like you are trying to make money off of this. All of this is for educational purposes, but oftentimes images will be labeled a certain way so you can know what you can do with them. And then at the end of this reading, it teaches you how you are supposed to label your images. This is MLA style. So if you're using APA or Chicago style, I linked other resources for you to figure out how to do the in-text citations for images, as well as the bibliography for images. So here you have figure 1, and then you just have the title of the artwork or the image that you have and by whoever created it. So that's really simple. In fact, I feel like MLA is the simplest with regards to in-text citations. And then this is how you do the end citation. Well, yeah, the work cited. You have the person who created it, title of the image in quotes, title of the website where you got it from, the last date that you looked up the image or you accessed it. I'm not sure, well, I guess you can just, it's okay, you can do it this way, web, and then date of publication or posting, if you can find it. If you can't find some of this information, you can just cut it out, it's fine. So this is how you do the citation. So with regards to the other two, okay, so APA, this one's the link that I posted for APA. It's relatively, so you can see here it's more complicated when you do the in-text citations. So figure blank, the number, then you have the explanation, description of the figure, this information, author, last name, year, place of publication, publisher. So it's a lot more extensive than what was in the MLA one. And then this is how you would do the citation for your bibliography. So this is up here. And I also found Chicago style for those of you that were planning on doing it Chicago style, also more complicated than the MLA version. So figure, number, name. So this was pretty created by whoever created it. Then when was it published, where it was from, and apparently you're supposed to like include a link as well. So that's how you do the in-text citation. And then afterwards, here's the footnote part, because remember Chicago style, you need the footnotes. So this is how you would do the footnote. And then this is how you would do it in your references. So hopefully you feel pretty well equipped sort of to tackle citing, including images within your formal report. Now I kind of want to show you a few resources in which you can find or create these different pictures. So I included a link called CC Search, Creative Commons. So yeah, if I was there with you, I would just ask you, what do you want to search for? And I'm just gonna pop in like dogs, okay. And then you'll find pictures of dogs. And the nice thing is that each of these pictures are labeled. So remember all of those icons that I talked about just a couple minutes ago? So if you click on the icon, it will actually walk you through what you can do with each image, right? So for this image, you can use it as long as you give appropriate credit, but you can't make money off of it, which is totally okay since you're not trying to do that, right? So same thing. This one has a slightly different label, right? So you might want to click on that, figure out how you can use it. So if you're missing some images or you want to spice up your formal report, you can go to CC Search to find some images and just make sure that it's okay to use it, right? And then there's this other resource called mapchart.net. So I know a lot of you are writing about coronavirus or vaccines. So this is a great resource if you want to customize your own map. So I'll just walk you through really simply. Yeah, so you can make your own map. So you can like make things different colors if you're like, okay, these are the places that were like most deeply affected by coronavirus or something like that. I don't know, I'm just clicking things. And then you have a place where you can actually fill out the legend, like maybe like, I don't know, 5,000 plus deaths or something like that. And then if you do a different color, right? Let's say blue, places that were like less affected. I don't know, like, you can also label that. And then you can download and then use your map within your formal report. So I think this is a really handy resource. It's pretty cool, the different features that it has. You can also use like change patterns, have dots, stripes, things like that. And then, yeah, I think I actually managed to get through all of the information fairly quick. Okay, great. So if you don't have any questions, then we can just wrap this up. And let me know if you have any questions specific to your project, or if you want me to look over anything for you. So next class, so the one on Wednesday, we are going to be talking about how to arrange things on your formal report. Hopefully at this time you're pretty happy with the content and your writing and you don't want to make too many tweaks to that. So we're just going to be talking about how to arrange things on the page and make it the most visually appealing that it can possibly be. All right, so that's it for now. I will talk to you later. Bye.